When a girl looks at you, most guys react in one of two ways. Either they nervously look away as if they were caught doing something wrong, or they do the opposite and they act as if they're in a staring contest, that they absolutely need to win, just staring the girl down until she looks away. Now, neither of these reactions is ideal, so let's talk about what it means when a girl looks at you and how to best react to it. Now, for me, it's actually one of the coolest things when I make eye contact with a girl and then I manage to develop that eye contact where I'm thinking I like her, but I'm not sure whether she likes me back. When I'm able to make something happen from there and potentially date a girl. And there's actually a really cool story from my own dating life. When I first started learning about dating and getting better at it, I went out for lunch in my hometown having some rice and chicken in a kebab store. So I was just eating and looking out through the window, and outside there were a couple tables and two girls were sitting there. And I remember making eye contact with one of these girls. She was 100% my type. I was really enjoying just looking at her. And then we made eye contact again, and then even a third time. And I was starting to overthink it. I really liked her. She was really my type. But I had already been sitting there for a couple minutes and I was like, man, I really like this girl. What does it mean? And I was not that good at reading signals back then. And we're going to touch on that in a moment as well. But I was also starting to think, man, it's weird. I'm already sitting here for 10 minutes. Now she's like, sees that I'm not doing anything, and does she even like me? And if I go there, everybody's going to see it. You know, all of these normal thoughts that came up. Now, long story short, I finished my food and then I decided, fuck it, I'm gonna go say hi. That girl and I were still talking years later. We went on a couple of really cool dates and had a lot of fun together. And if I hadn't reacted to this eye contact, even at the point where I was not 100% sure whether it meant what it meant, nowadays I would just immediately be able to see that, and you're going to be able to see that as well when you're done watching this video. But being able to capitalize on this gave me a really cool experience. And today, I think there's very few things that are as cool as that. Being out with your friends in a coffee shop, or being out for lunch, or just walking along the way and making that eye contact with a girl and then being able to make something happen from there. These are the coolest moments when you like the girl, you have eye contact, and then something evolves from there. So what does it mean when a girl looks at you? The truth is that when you make eye contact once, it doesn't really mean anything. Whatever other guys tells you, just think about it. You might have just walked into her path of what she was looking at, right? She might have just looked at you because you have a cool outfit. You just walked into her frame. There's a million reasons why. She might have just thought you remind her of somebody. Now, if she looks at you a second time, or even better, if she looks at you and her gaze just lingers a little too long, or she checks you out, this is what people call checking you out. If you can get better at spotting these things, this is the signals that you're looking for. Now, let me also briefly touch on why that's a great signal. Women are constantly worried about being approached by somebody that they don't want to meet. So they're extremely careful about what kind of signals they put out all the time. They're very conscious about the signals that they're giving. So usually they're not giving any signals, and even worse, they try to avoid anything that could be seen as a signal. So rather than making eye contact a second time, if they don't like somebody, there's no way they're going to make eye contact a second time, right? There's no way they will linger with their look a little too long on somebody they don't like. And the flip side to this is that girls always say that, well, men are so bad at reading our signals because they never give any signals. When they do give what for them is a massive signal, for us, it's almost invisible unless we train ourselves to spot these moments. So the fact that they are so careful about what signals they give, and the fact that they are so conscious about the signals they give, is a great sign for you when it happens, that it's to be seen as a positive signal, that she does actually like you, that she would be interested in you at least coming over. Now, when a girl looks at a guy, there's two big mistakes they make, and we already briefly touched on them in the beginning. But let's talk about them in a little more depth. The first one is she looks at you and you nervously look away. What that subcommunicates is that you did something wrong because you nervously looked away. So you must have been doing something weird before, right? That's not at all what you want to subcommunicate. Now, what most guys that start learning about dating or that watch any of this alpha male or red pill content on YouTube, what they do is they do the complete opposite. When a girl looks at them, they just stare her down. They're like, oh, I need to establish the dominant frame. I need to make her look away so she knows that I'm the man. Problem is that when you do that, you're basically performing confidence. And when you are performing confidence in such an obvious way, everybody will know that you're not really confident. So neither of these solutions are really going to be optimal, and usually they're also not going to be helpful. And whenever you see a girl and you like her and then she looked over and you accidentally reacted in one of these two ways, don't worry, I would still use the opportunity to meet her if you like her. Don't let that initial mistake that you made or that failure completely ruin the situation for you. But of course, we're always trying to go for the best way, for the most optimal way to react. So let's talk about what the most optimal way would be. Now, what I want you to do instead is whenever a girl makes eye contact, I want you to hold that eye contact and smile. You don't want to be rattled by it. You don't want to forcefully hold it. So if you look away before her, that's fine, right? Just hold it for 2 seconds and then you can look away. But do it on your own terms, right? Don't look away because you feel like you have to look away because you got nervously caught, or feel like you have to hold it. Just do whatever feels good in the moment and add a little smile to it. And I'll give you a little secret. If it's difficult for you to smile randomly in the moment, because some people actually struggle with it, and I struggle with that myself for a long time, even nowadays, sometimes it doesn't come naturally. When I make eye contact and I don't really feel like smiling, where it would feel a bit forced, then don't do it. Instead, what you're going to do is focus on projecting warmth, because you don't want to stare, right? Instead, you want to look at her and project warmth. Imagine that warmth coming out of you and towards her, almost like a soothing feeling that you're projecting forward. Imagine that emotion and imagine projecting that. I know it sounds very esoteric, but by imagining projecting warmth, your eye contact and the way you look at people will become a lot warmer. And that's exactly the difference between you staring a little bit like a psychopath and you actually projecting a warm, charismatic look at her. Try doing this yourself. Try doing it right now in front of your computer, or go to a mirror, look in the mirror, look at it and try staring, and then try just looking at your image, at your reflection, and projecting warmth at it, and see the difference. See how you look different, see how your eyes are different, see how all of these muscles here contract in a different way. Now, whenever that happened, whenever she gave you the signal, when she looked at you a second time or her look lingered a little too long, what that means is it's an invitation. It's not her pursuing you. It's just an invitation that you're allowed to make a move. You're allowed to come over. You're allowed to say something, introduce yourself, and get to know her. That's all it means. So what it still requires is you actually making that move, you making something happen, you going over, introducing yourself, you going over and saying hi. In other words, you still have to make it happen. When I'm in that situation and a girl looked at me 3 times, there is no discussion. I'm immediately getting up, going over and saying something like, hey, I noticed you looking over a couple of times and I just thought I'd come over and say hi. You're really my type. Whatever you say, if she looks at you a 3rd time, there's literally nothing that's going to hold you back. You have to go. If she looked at you twice, I would still see it as a positive signal, and I would just go over at some point, maybe not immediately. Maybe I'll just make it happen in my own time when I'm finished eating, when I'm finished with my coffee, when I'm about to leave. I will go over and say hi. And sometimes I misread the signal. Sometimes the signal was right, but she had a boyfriend, still was interested, but maybe nothing's gonna happen from that. And sometimes something beautiful can come from that because she was already interested in me, in how I presented myself and how I moved and how I behaved just from a distance. And then something can happen between the two of us. That is the magic that I love so much about this whole dating stuff. It's when some sparkles can happen. I want to give you a little metaphor here. Whenever you make eye contact with a girl, you can think of the eye contact as the nonverbal communication between the two of you. And the repeated eye contact is her inviting you to come over and start the verbal communication. And I know sometimes it's still going to be hard. You're still going to feel weird, especially if you're in a coffee shop or a restaurant. There's going to be other people looking. You don't really know what to say. So what I encourage you to do is just speak from your heart. Just say what you feel in that moment. And it might be that she doesn't like it. It might be that it doesn't work out. But just putting yourself in more of these situations where something can happen, that's what it comes all down to. And I want to leave you with a clip from the movie Crazy Stupid Love. That was a clip that inspired me to start taking action in my own dating life without any other content. This is what I saw. Then I was like, man, this actually looks cool. He gets rejected. Go watch that movie if you haven't seen it, because I'm just going to play the initial clip for copyright purposes.
So much potential, and you've resorted to fantasizing about Conan Ginger Junk O'Brien. He is funny. He looks like a carrot, honey.
Who looks like a carrot? Hi. Who looks like a carrot?
Conan O'Brien. My friend, Hannah here thinks he's sexy.
But go watch the entire movie. It's amazing. He gets massively rejected by the girl, but it's not really that bad, right? He still looks like the cool guy who had the balls to come over. He's playful, and I think it's a great opening scene. So he's going to go over and just start the interaction, but what he's going to say is,
Me sitting over there for the past 2 hours not being able to take my eyes off of you is a fact.
which is a very direct compliment. That's what I was looking for, a very direct compliment. And you can just say that if that's how you felt in the moment. It is very direct, but sometimes if that's what you feel, why not just say it? Say what you feel. And with that, if you like this video, hit the subscribe button. If you want to work with me one-on-one, there's a link to my calendar down below. Let's have a chat, see where you're at, see what your goals are and how I can help you get there. And I'll see you in one of my next videos.